Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Snoo. Today, I'm bringing back the low investment or no investment Wandering Path Red Altars, Exarch Altar strategy. I didn't even make a video on this last league. There were no major changes before, but I know this particular strategy has served a lot of you guys very well, and we are going to do it again because the core game got some major overhaul. It's the biggest shakeup in the Atlas I think I've ever seen. We got a mandatory league mechanic that's I don't know, has a lot of controversy around it as to whether or not, it's worth doing or it's making maps harder. What do I do? How do I farm currency? Enraged Strongbox is gone. Wandering Path is gone. And so we're revisiting the Wandering Path Exarch Altar farming strategy very much like I used to do it. This is, in essence, a snapshot in time when you're progressing through the Atlas, got most of it done, 2 Void Stones unlocked, 6 favorited maps unlocked that just kind of come naturally. No major bosses taking place. We're going to be ping-ponging between the 2 best maps I think exist right now, especially with the 2 Watchstone setup. Wastepool is an interesting one. Very tight corridors maps. It drops a Doctor card, though, and has very high natural mob spawn rates, which seem to impact Exarch Altar spawns. However, Exarch Altar minions are not natural minions, as you can tell from the start of the map when you launch the map. So it's nice that we're doing a strategy where we're not doubling up the difficulty of the minions, because we're going to be taking a lot of Eldritch minion altars. They're going to make them much harder, mainly in the form of chaos and fire resistance and extra damage. Fortunately, I'm doing a build that primarily does cold. Well, all 3 elements, but cold damage, mostly. But here's the Atlas. Let's just see what it looks like. Now, there's something else that's very interesting about this is last time I did this, I went with Heist on the side. Now, the reason I did Heist on the side was very much torn between something like Harbinger, Essence, Heist, I don't know. But went with Heist because it was just instant. It didn't make the map harder. I really just wanted to focus on the Eldritch currencies, mostly. That's Gem Cutter Prism, that's Orbs of Unmaking, Regrets, Chaos Orbs, Cartographer Chisels, which actually are not on my loot filter, Glass Baubles, Instilling Orbs, Enkindling Orbs, all kinds of stuff, but not Awakened Sextants. So another major change there. We lost Awakened Sextants, we lost Wandering Path, so I do wonder how lucrative this will be. If I recall correctly, it was around 6 to 8 Divines an hour, I think, the top end, at least if accounted the very rare occasional, well, let's see, what was that? Well, the Eldritch Minion Altars can drop divination cards that reward, like, unique corrupted jewelry or something like that. So I think it's like the Fiend card and the Insane Cat do occasionally drop. But otherwise, it's maybe like a 4 or 5 Divine an hour strat without those jackpots. We have Nico packed with energy going on here, so one of the major core changes is a boost to this strat is making it a lot easier. We can force Nico onto every single map, and it's totally fine. We don't have to pay a Sextant or a Scarab, and I'm not spending any Sextants or Scarabs. Obviously not spending any Sextants because they don't exist. Now, we'll be going Heist as well. So I mentioned that I did Heist last time, and I have extra reasons to do Heist this time. That's because the game's core changes have resulted in new Scarabs dropping all throughout the map, but for some reason Heist was neglected in those drops. Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Sanctum and Heist were neglected there, which means people in general are not going to be farming Heist materials, not very likely to do it. We also don't even need to take Wandering Path, or rather 7th Gate anymore to unlock, all the options of Carrick Bench. So, I mean, people just have a ton of different options on things to farm. Most people are not going to farm Heist materials, but there are going to be a lot of people. I think there's actually going to be an influx of players farming Heist because they don't want to deal with the harder maps that you're forced to contend with the league mechanic. They also might have noticed the crazy amount of chase that went on with the Focus and Simplex amulets last league and might have said to themselves, you know what, I want to do Heist the following league. So I think Heist is going to be especially lucrative. One more bonus to Heist is we can now easily sell contracts and blueprints in bulk. So I can put all my blueprints, which are basically priced the same now, makes it convenient. I can put them all in the same dump tab, and somebody can just see that all on the bulk selling trade site, and they can actually request trades for all of them at once. Makes it super easy. Don't forget, we also have totally or 100% revealed blueprints that drop. These are big money right now with the current economy. It almost feels like we're in a little bit of a poverty league right now. It doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of currency floating around, so it's another good incentive to do Exarch Altars. This type of strategy typically doesn't hold very well for a really long time, but that's on account of Awakened Sextants market, you know, going up and then fluctuating as accordingly. I don't know what's going to happen this time with no Awakened Sextant, but I can bet you that a lot of the Exarch currencies that drop are still going to be worth something, and maybe even worth more than usual this time around. So just to fully recap, we got Heist, we got Nico, we got all of the Exarch stuff. We're losing Wandering Path, but we're getting all of the Exarch pack size back. And we're still getting adjacent map drops for the ping pong strat. We don't have a 100% chance to drop one. It was a little bit difficult to sustain maps last time, I remember, if I did not use Growing Hordes, which is also gone. But I think it's going to work out. I think we're going to find that the sustain is good. I've already done a little bit of preliminary testing, which is a little surprising. I'm not sure why. Maybe from the league mechanic boosting the quantity of drops, we're just getting more maps or whatnot. We'll see. I could be going for 8-mod corrupted maps. It could be trying to do all kinds of stuff with these. However, we're just going to have maps, and I'm not going to try to corrupt them with Val Orbs. I'm not going to chisel them with Cartographers, and obviously not doing a Growing Hordes thing because that doesn't exist. So this is going to be very baseline, and again, this is supposed to represent a kind of a snapshot at the very beginning of the league where you're just kind of completing your Atlas. You got your second Atlas, which you get for free, so you don't have to worry about, you know, blowing a bunch of them, making orbs to make this happen. Forgot to mention we are going for higher tier map drops. We're definitely focusing some points on higher tier maps to get those map drops. Basically ignoring all league mechanics except maybe, you know, the occasional strong box and essence that are almost instant. And we're just doing smuggler stashes and Nico's packed with energy, and that's basically it. Just fully clearing the map. I'm going to show you a waste pool to start, and this will cost 500 chaos to start because every single map will cost 5 chaos. That's because that's the price to pay for the smuggler's stash guaranteed on the map, and it's absolutely worth paying that. So the investment cost is 500 chaos, which is around 4 divines, a little over 4 divines right now. Divines are 140 chaos apiece at the moment, and they are moving pretty rapidly, so we'll see where it lands at the end of this video. I'm going to try to do this all in one day. This is a do it all in one day farm. Heist is right here. I'll show you Waste Pool because you've probably seen Jungle Valley before. The reason we do Jungle Valley is because it spawns a minion altars that cannot give boss altar options. The boss does not exist in the map. Same with Mausoleum. So I was looking at Jungle Valley and Mausoleum for the ping pong strat, but we ended up going Jungle Valley. And Waste Pool, the worst thing about Waste Pool is trying to rush the boss. It's not very far. Pretty easy to determine where it is, but yeah, it's a little annoying. So yeah, I'll keep track. We'll have, I believe, 4 invitations at the end of this, and I'll be able to keep track of the number of maps I'm doing based on the progress there. Alright, so Huck will spawn when I hit a smuggler stash, and he gives me Anger Aura, level 15. If you go out of your way to level him up and give him one of the heist material things, you can actually get a free aura. Want to see it? There it is. I don't have anger in my build. In my build, I've spent less than 5 divines on this build in total. So we are looking at essentially, probably the best way to think of my build is just a generic leveling lightning arrow build that is using the new gem, Elemental Hit of the Spectrum. It is not the gem that I will be using ultimately because my build require some specialized tech for Reverse Chill and Warlord's Mark, but in the intermediary, this has proven to be a very strong gem. Ooh. Well, I'm shooting into the sewer. That doesn't do much. Got monsters have extra life as energy shield, and I have to go back and rush the boss. So it would have been nice if the boss at least died there, because then I could just full clear the map from straight. But yeah, boss is not one of the easiest bosses to deal with, to be fair. But hey, you know, that's what you get on like a less than 5 divine budget, so just gotta deal with it, I guess. Alright, so here it is. I think I'll just leave gamblers on my loot filter for people who want to test divination card drops. For now, this is the ultra strict filter. Atlas is linked in the description below. The filter is also linked there. And yeah, a lot of things. My current POB. As you can see how lousy my gear is. Definitely a bit on the lower end of RNG for drops. I did finally get one Divine Orb drop so far. But yeah, we're going to see a lot of blueprints, guys. A lot of blueprints. They're worth, I don't know exactly today. They're going to be worth at least 12 chaos apiece. You can pretty much bet your bottom dollar they're going to be worth at least 12 chaos apiece. That's if they're not fully unveiled. And blueprints kind of drop like candy with this strat. A lot of people want them. A lot of people are going to be chasing that Simplex amulet. Shout out to you if you're one of them. Alright, so that is the waste pool layout. You can see it there. Pretty short, easy. You would see a lot of Eldritch minions spawning in there, even when those tight corridors as such. So, okay, sorry, misspeaking. Enable tab affinities off. Alright. So, you know, I'm just going to basically count deception contracts, I think. And, oh, we did get a little Scarab. And we don't have a fully revealed contract. That's fine. All of these, or blueprint, all of these are, you know, pretty cheap. And we'll do the other map. So I did not drop a map, so I did not sustain there. But I think the sustain will be fine. I'll let you know if there are some issues at the end with map sustain. Now, here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. It's a little more like it. Yeah, this is a better pack size map. So what Scarabs would be really good for this build? Or this strat, I mean. We have the magic pack size Scarab. We can't do unidentified maps, I guess. Okay. Jackpot. Yeah. Oh my god, they're fractured even. Wait, that's bad. Wait, why are half of them fractured? Dude, Assassin's Garb though is big. That's gonna be big. So I think that was actually my intended plan. Oh. What? Horn Scarab of Bloodlines. I heard that was good. That's a winner. What is that worth? Oh, unknown item. Who knows? Alright, chat, tell me what's that worth. Somebody go look it up right now. For the streamer. What did we get? How many Divine Orbs? 4 div? 4? That's gross. That's gnarly. That is gnarly. Random Scarab drops. What was that? Random Scarab drop? Yeah, that's random Scarab drop. Oh, I actually have a really good altar right now. Unique jewelry altar too. I could drop. Dude, we could make this map a freaking. This could be a hero map right here. Can't sustain maps worth of shit. I don't know. I'm sustaining maps doing this. Are you all tier 16? I think there is a bit of a. I think there's something to the strat of actually not running all 4 Watchstones because you have an even higher chance of hitting the map that you want to drop with the singular focus. I don't know if you're doing singular focus or not. But you gotta think, like, singular focus is a risky move, right? Because you're gonna brick a lot of your map drops. because it can drop literally any map in the Atlas. And yeah, you can have a favorited system, but it's got to compete with every other map in the Atlas at tier 16, but not if the maps you have favorited are tier 14 and tier 15. Then it only has to compete with a very small handful of maps against when those tiers drop. Now, you're going to get fewer of those tiers to drop, but you're just going to be way more likely to hit the right map. Right, so whenever the game drops, the first thing in the programming happens, the game drops a map. Okay, it drops, if I have 2 Watchstones in, okay, the game drops anything from tier 7 or below, it gets recycled and the forgiveness rating hits. Now, when the game, now one of the downsides of running only 2 Watchstones is when the game drops a tier 8, or a tier 9, or a tier 10, or tier 11, 12, or 13, it's going to drop one of these, it's going to hit one of these maps and it's going to get converted to currency, and the forgiveness rating is lost. But whenever it hits a tier 14, so if we put 14 in here, look, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7 maps, okay? There's only 7 maps, and one of them is Waste Pool, and Waste Pool is favorited twice, which means I have 22 rolls on Waste Pool against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other rolls. So 22 over 6 chance, which means I have, when I drop a T14, I have basically an 80% chance to drop Waste Pool. And the numbers are 90% whenever I hit Jungle Valley, because the same thing applies to Jungle Valley, but now I suddenly have 4 favorited slots there, and I have a 90% chance to score Jungle Valley when I hit. But here's the thing, it's actually even better than that, because that only counts for regular map drops. But whenever I hit an adjacent drop, now it's 22 versus 1. It's 22. So in the case of Waste Pool, there's only 2 adjacent T14. So when it drops a T14, adjacent, I'm not 100% sure this is the way the programming works with adjacent, but I assume it does. That it is rolling 22 Waste Pools versus 1 Spider Forest. So 22 times out of 23, I will get the adjacent Waste Pool. Now, maybe if it rolls the adjacent map and it hits T16, it just gets bricked and converted in currency. I don't actually know how that works, but I'm not sure. I don't think anybody knows exactly. I almost feel like they buffed the altar spawn rate. Do you guys feel like that? Because these maps are not particularly high pack size, but I just really am getting a lot of altars. I think I've only had like 1 or 2 maps in 50 maps where I got 0 altars, and it didn't used to be that way. Wait, really? We get extra Exarch Altar spawn chance? Oh my god. Well, I mean, you get the extra chance to spawn 1 altar at the beginning, but it's not as good as Eater. So you're right, it is technically better, but like Eater will be more profound in that sense. So you get the same amount of pack size as Wandering Path, but you have a pretty high chance of spawning 1 altar when you initiate the influence. But I don't think that's all that significant. You get to stun on potentially all of your attacks because you're not chilling or you're not freezing on any of them. You are chilling, but not freezing. You cannot stun and freeze at the same time, so you need your attacks to have no freeze eligibility. You can either run Secrets of Suffering, Gale Sight as a helmet, or a special skill gem that turns off cold damage sometimes. Oh, Divine Orb. There we go. Got 1 Divine. Around map 70. About right on time. And I am going to make a video on this special leveling tech, though. This deserves its own video. Tassalio's Ring, Southbound, and Ahuana's Bite. Really elevates, I mean, not even just bow build. Well, obviously bow build because it's a quiver. Any elemental bow build really elevates its power, especially early before you get a good amount of flat damage. That is so much flat cold that you get at before level 60, before you're even done with the campaign. Actually insane. Wow. What? Just for the hell of it, I hit that. Literally, my best in slot corruption, 100 divines. Alright. Maybe not really, but... Dude. Just slammed the... what in the world? Alright, count it. I'm counting it. Right back on pace. Before you know it, I'm going to slam Corrupted Blood into an Unnatural Instinct or something later this league. If that jewel's worth anything anymore. Ooh. Ooh, that's a hard choice. What? Alright, what do I have? Regrets? Lesser than greater. I'm gonna hit... That's a high currency dupe roll. Hit that. Take turn down gem cutters. Well. Map sustain. Oh, 4/4 wings. Let's go. Money. Alright, fine. I got 3 fully revealed blueprints. I think I'm almost where I should be. I should probably get 4 or 5 in 100 maps by the looks of it. Because I think I'm going to have around 50 blueprints. That's kind of crazy, right? 50 blueprints in 100 maps? Fully revealed, 4/4. Got another one. Alright, that means I got at least 4 fully revealed, and 3 of them are 4/4 too, so that's nice. Alright, I feel reasonably good about this. Alright, there we go. Everybody's favorite part. Here we go. Results. I want to give a quick disclaimer to let you guys know that I changed my atlas, and in the description the atlas will be updated properly for this current one. This involves remarkable relics as well as skittering swarms, and I pulled points out of Nico's chance, so I no longer have a 100% chance to spawn Nico. It was okay, but you know, there were a few points in here like the quant wheel, and I don't necessarily need to travel all the way down there for that. I was able to save some points, get some scarab drops. I got a really valuable scarab in the middle of this, around map 17 or something, so kind of made an executive decision. I think it would be good for me and for you guys to go ahead and invest a little bit in Scarabs. Even these Alch Go maps, even these low density, or decent density but low pack size maps worked out pretty well. I had a lot of fun on this farm, so we'll talk about all of it right now. We'll start with this one, a true blasting farm for sure. Okay. So, I have 2,930 chaos in there, but, you know, I should probably reveal first that there are a lot of items in here that the Excellence application can't count. Now, it's using PoE stack for a while there, and it can count some things, including, I think, maps, contracts, blueprints, and stuff. The Excellence application cannot count all of these things that are on the right. Everything in this tab, it can, including maps and blueprints, which made the process of figuring all this out quite tedious for me. Wouldn't take away from the selling time normally, because now we can just bulk sell a lot of things. So I have a bunch of perception counter Thaumaturgy and Deception contracts. I'm counting Deception contracts is worth 7 C apiece, and the Counter Thaumaturgy and Perception worth 2 C apiece on average. I believe that's cheaper than what they were going for on bulk trading for TFT, and it doesn't really matter because you can just dump them in a tab like this, and somebody will request to buy like 30 of them at once. And that is kind of the new revelation to bulk selling, which is making Heist much more appealing now than it used to be. Also have 4 fully revealed blueprints, and as you can see, these are worth quite a bit. If we go in here, kind of low on the quantity, but I counted all of these 4 collectively as worth 300 chaos, so quite conservative there. Just over 100,000 rogue markers, and that was also worth like 250 chaos apparently. A ton of blueprints on the side, and if we can see here, I got the numbers right here. So all the blueprints, the regular ones, 600 C in total here. Maps are worth a lot. Jungle Valley is worth apparently 10 C a piece right now, T15 or T16. So that and some of the waste pools means the maps are around 200 C in value. They've got the markers, contracts, blueprints, full reveals, and 6 links here. I got a couple of 6 links you saw in the highlights, 3 of them that had any value whatsoever, about 100 C in total for these 6 links. Well, I actually can't really properly price this one with that particular fracture. It's a tier 2 kind of hybrid fracture. Might be okay. But anyway, yeah, so the other dump tab is where everything else is, and this is after I cleaned it all out and I vendored a lot of the contracts to see if I could pull some deceptions out. Quite a bit time consuming on that part, but about 4.5 hours of actual farming. And I think it can count basically everything in here except the all flames. Now, I did not go through with a fine comb and check the all flame values. I did verify that frogs are maybe worth like 10 chaos apiece. I don't know. I'm not adding that, not counting that in here. I do have a horned Scarab of Bloodlines. This is a really, really big drop, over 3 divines in value. This is one that the major magic finders are using in conjunction with the 3 other divine or divination scarabs. Snap made a video on this, talking about this scarab. You can also use this scarab. I wanted to point out these 2 scarabs. They might be a good bet because apparently they're pretty cheap, especially the increased magic pack size. So if you were to run this strat again, you should probably do it with this scarab. If I were to buy anything, maybe just this scarab. Also, it would be a pretty good idea to alch and val the maps. However, I don't really recommend valing T15 or T14 maps because they're going to sometimes brick into a higher tier that you're never going to sell. So maybe if you're doing the T14, T15 strat, and I could self-sustain 100%, these are the extra maps. So I started with 2, and now I have like 28 maps left over. So I suppose that means I found 126 maps in total out of doing 100 maps. So definitely over-sustained about the same amount I used to, which was interesting. But yeah, trying to keep on track. Maybe the 8-mod Corrupted Scarab is worth using. I might spend as much as 2 chaos a map to do this, 2 or 3, because it would be quite impactful if your maps were dropping 8-mod Corrupted. But I have a feeling that would be a pretty poor choice because the map sustain so low, you're only getting like a little over 1 map per map on average. Seems like a bad idea. However, this scarab may remain cheap because you're so confined with juicing strats anyway. You can only pick so many scarabs. You can only pick 4 scarabs. So a lot of people are not gonna pick this scarab unless they're specifically target farming maps, maybe. More on that in a future video. We'll see if I can make a nice strat for you guys around this scarab. I think it would be a good idea. Also, Excellence didn't count the Forbidden Tome. This is worth 15 chaos. I didn't even count it though. There's only 1. And so, that is the summary there. Quite a bit to look at. So Excellence I used to use a long time ago. If we count all of the values here, I think this looks pretty accurate. There's a lot to count, and I am going to be a little more lenient than normal because I will actually settle for making trades for 3 or 4 chaos right now. Probably, although that will change in the near future. Anyway, a total of 4.64 divines invested, a total of 34.14 divines gross. And just to mark on here, 140 C per divine is the price range there. And the price of divines is currently in flux right now because we are in the middle of day 3. The net 29.5 divines farmed, and that was roughly 41 chaos per map. a lot of that came from Heist materials, as you can see. A significant portion of the currency that I made was Heist materials. And then the Divine Per Hour about 6.56, which is better than usual. However, while I did not get a super jackpot drop like in a corrupted jewelry card, Dr. Fiend, Insane Cat, and I think there's one other that turn into a headhunter or Mage Blood, corrupted or not. Those cards are specific to Exarch Altar mods, and you will eventually see one of those jackpot cards if you farm enough. I usually see on average maybe one every 100 or 200 maps with a farm like this. Well, that's with bigger pack size probably. So maybe once every 200 or 300 maps like this. And didn't see one. However, I got very lucky with a Horned Scarab. It happened to be a very valuable Horned Scarab, I'm guessing. So, a little bit of a jackpot. Without that Scarab, this still came out to just under 6 Divines an hour. And I'm quite impressed with that, because usually this strat with no jackpot whatsoever, like 1 Divine Orb, 4 or 5 Chaos an hour. Sorry, Divine Orbs. 4 to 5 Divine Orbs per hour. And that was the old tree. That was the old strat with the Wandering Path, with Awakened Sextants. So those of you who are despairing about the loss of Wandering Path and Awakened Sextant to the Searing Exarch strat, it is day 3, it is early, but the Embers weren't counting for very much here. 1C. I think these sell for more than this in bulk. Greater Eldritch Embers, only 1C. Maybe it really did crash that hard. I don't know, but I feel like it would sell for more than that. So some of these numbers might be a little bit inaccurate. I'm trying to fill in the gaps with excellences, shortcomings by not counting map, doing the best I can to give you as much of an accurate representation. This is pretty accurate, I think. I believe I made probably 6 Divines an hour doing this farm. Sounds about right. And I think on average it would be a little higher, because you would start including bigger jackpot drops over time. Okay, so we already went over the Atlas changes. That's in the description. The Ultra Strict Filter was the one that was used. My current path of building for this character is under a 5 Divine budget for this character right now. It's pretty crazy. I think I will come out with a little separate video about specific text that I'm using here, especially with these 3 items, because it was quite fantastic in the end. And I will be switching to crit and reverse chill moving forward, and it will not be with the Transfigured Gem. It'll be with a regular gem moving forward. So that is what is to come. Final thoughts on this strat. I was able to just interact, talk to chat. I mean, easy. I could literally just watch a movie on a second stream and do this strat. This is really chill, super chill strat. I love this strat. Don't have to think about too much. You got to make sure you got good chaos res. I will say that. So with the flask, I'm capped chaos res. It makes my life way easier. Don't forget also Soul of Abrath and the additional God Link there. Fill these out. Quite important to do that, so you can handle the burning ground. If you do those things, especially if you're not a fire or chaos damage based build, you'll find the monsters to be very easy to deal with, no matter how many altars. You could take 10 altars. There were some maps I had over 10 altars. Effects didn't matter. It was easy all the way through. So the native monsters in the map, by virtue of the league mechanic, were harder than normal. That's okay, because I wasn't boosting those up. I was just boosting up the Eldritch minions, and they didn't count. Actually, I found the boss to be the hardest thing normally on the map. So I don't know if that was impacted by the current league or what, but occasionally the boss was actually really hard to deal with. I couldn't run maps with monsters have a chance to avoid elemental elements. Didn't run maps with elemental reflect. Everything else I ran, so pretty easy. I could run even less recovery, no regen stuff. Monsters take reduced damage from crit, no problem. Throwing a precise technique right now, so that was uniquely funny when I kept seeing that mod. Didn't have to worry about it. But that's it for me. I hope this video is going to help you guys find a home base, a good strat that will work with these virtually no investment. I paid 5 chaos per map on the heist. You don't even have to do that. You could just not spec heisting, just run Exarch Altars if you wanted, and just focus on Scarab drops. That would be fine too. But I do recommend the heisting. I think it will turn out to be quite a good idea. I already know that these blueprints are selling like hotcakes with or without the reveals. Deception contracts definitely going to fly off the shelf for that. Got a lot of people who are wanting to heist, and there's a severe lack of supply. in the market for heisting materials right now. I can already tell that's the case. So give it this strat a try if you want. There's going to be all kinds of different strats available in this league that are going to be good. It's going to take a while to figure them out. And I will be doing what I can to figure it out. Bring you guys the goods. Alright, so let me know how your league's going. If you find any good strats, let us know in the comments. That's it for me. I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next video.